Okay, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to start a series on tying jigs. And this one is going to be a very basic crappie jig, crappie bluegill. And we're going to start with a 1/16 ounce lead head, and it has a number 4 sickle hook in it. It is painted chartreuse. You can leave them natural, paint them, whatever you want to do. Just a regular lead head will work. So the materials we're going to use we're going to use some white chenille, and this is a crappie jig that you'll be able to use right away and catch crappie anywhere in the country. We're going to use some marabou, chartreuse marabou for the tail, and this is just keeping it easy, keeping it simple. It's pretty simple to work with. I'll show you a technique for that. Tools you're going to need are a pair of scissors, a bodkin or a toothpick will work just fine, and a whip finish tool. And you don't really need a whip finish tool, but it works good. I can show you another way to do it also, which will be coming up in some other more advanced videos. But a whip finish tool, you're really going to want to get one of those. And of course, you're going to need a bobbin with some thread. This one's a little fancy. It's for a Norvise, which is what I use. So to start this off, what we're going to do, and this is again a very beginner type of jig. This is just what you're going to learn on to start before you start tying jigs that are more difficult. This is just to set the foundation. So if you have somebody that's a beginner, you're going to want to have them tune in and watch this, and it'll be very simple, especially if you have a child that wants to learn how to do this. Kids are great at this. Usually they're better than we are as adults. So the other thing we're going to use is some Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails. You can use super glue, but either one works. And then we will also use some fly head cement, which is just a different type of glue, and we'll use that for gluing the head. So how we're going to start this off is just take a little Sally Hansen's, and I put a little bit on the shank of the hook. And what that's going to do is that's going to stop the thread and any material from sliding around on the shaft of the hook, because it will do that if that shank is left smooth. So we'll start right here, and we'll just start wrapping this to the back of the jig. And you can go back. The point of the hook is a really good place to start for a basic jig. You'll see jigs that are shorter, you'll see some that are longer, but this is just a good basic place to start. Now, some people will leave that right there and start tying the tail in right there, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to wrap it back forward, because when I'm dealing with marabou, I like to start at the front. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this marabou, and I'm going to run it through my fingers like this, and I'm going to kind of measure how I want that, how far I want that. So if you measure the length of the hook plus 1, so that the tail comes off the back of the hook about 1 hook length, that's about perfect. And then I cut this right here. Some people tie that in. I don't. I cut it off. And then what I'll do is I'll just take, and you can see all the little danders come out of it. I put that down underneath my desk and get those done. Then it's going to be all frayed up like this, which is really tough to deal with. So what I like to do is I like to just wet my fingers, lick them, or if you keep a little bowl of water there, you'll see it'll get kind of wet and look like that. And then I just set that on top of the hook, and I do one loose wrap, and then I get tighter and tighter with each wrap, all while wrapping it back. And you'll see when we get back there, we'll have a nice flare on the tail. And that's that simple. I don't know if that light's good or not, but we can try to block it and see. You'll be able to see it. So then what I do is I'll take some of the chenille. This is just a basic chenille, and just for this I'm going to cut just a length of it off. Doesn't have to be real long. And what I'm going to do is I will start this, I'll start this right here, but what I want to do is I want to pull off this little piece of this, and it'll expose a little piece of rope by pulling that off. And that's what the material is wound on. I don't know if you can see that little piece of string right there, but that's what I'm going to tie in with the bobbin first. So we'll just set this on here like this and tie this piece of string on here, and then I'll wrap it forward. Now, this is a retractable bobbin that I have here. A lot of you don't have this, so you'll be wrapping this by hand. And this is a rotary vise, so I use the rotary portion of it. And what I'll do is I'll just take this and I dock it over here on the side. And there's a little holder right over there, and you can hook the bobbin on. Otherwise, you just kind of got to let it hang. If you have to let it hang, one thing you can do is just make like a half hitch, and that puts a little knot in it so that you can move your bobbin around and it won't come untied. So I'm going to dock this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this upside down and get it ready where it's going to start. And then I will take some more Sally Hansen's, and again, you can use super glue, and I put that right on that thread, and that's going to give that strength. And then we'll just start, and we're going to rotate this on here, one right next to the other, all the way up to about right there. Now I leave a little gap there, and I'm going to show you why. Because if I let this go, that chenille will want to loosen up. Not necessarily with the glue on it, but if you don't have it glued, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this with thread right there. And what that does, it'll take all the pressure off the body of that. So now, when I wrap this by hand on here, usually I'll do two, pull that good and tight, and then you have a nice uniform body across there. You could do a third one when we get into the advanced, not necessarily advanced, but the intermediate stuff. I'll show you what I do there to make tapered bodies and different heads. So then what I did was I wrapped behind this, 2 wraps, and then 2 wraps in front, and then I can cut this off, this chenille off. And then I'll just discard this. So now is when we'll use the whip finish tool just to finish this jig. And what this is you just take this, you pull your thread back right here, lay this on it, bring it up and over, and it makes an X. You'll see the X, and I put that right in behind the lead head. And I'll do 3 or 4, take it off, pull it a little tight, and then I'll do that again 6 times. And you can do it as many or as few as you want. That's just how I do it. And then we'll cut this thread off here. We'll knock the camera over. Those things happen. But you know what? We're just going to go with it. So there we have that. So now what I'm going to do is, if you'll look underneath here, you can kind of see just a little bit of the thread there. And this is where your bodkin and your head cement come into play. This head cement is what fly tyers use, and I use it. And all I do is I dip this bodkin or toothpick into that glue, bring it up there, and that soaks right into the thread. And you just need a little bit. It goes a long way, and it is waterproof. And then that's that. That's your basic crappie jig, bluegill jig. You catch anything on them, walleye on them, and you'll just have a blast. This color right here is a great color to start with. If you have any questions, put them below, in the comment section. I'll answer them for you. And also, if you like the content, please like and subscribe my channel. And what we're going to do is I'm going to continue on. Each week I'm going to try to release a video on a little bit more advanced type of jig tie. So this is just the very basic of basics. Hope you enjoy it. Again, if you like it, please like and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. That way you'll get any new posts that we put up. Thanks so much for watching.